Hi everybody, and welcome again to one of my webinars. This webinar I'm specifically doing from a couple of requests people have made on how to use joint ventures to double your business or your income, for example. Now, let's start with some normal housekeeping. Before I begin, if everyone can give me just a yes or okay in the chat box that you can hear me nice and clearly. Okay. Excellent. Yes, yes. Okay, yes. Brilliant. Okay, excellent. All right, so let's get started. This training module or this training webinar that I'm running today is actually most of the content is taken from my high-level 10 and 20 K brokering program courses that I run, and I'm actually always updating my training on a regular basis, and I'll be putting some new elements in this training that you'll actually go through today, and we will have a Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions for me about joint ventures, how to use joint ventures, how to make money from joint ventures, please leave them till the end. Filter your questions throughout, and then at the end we'll have a Q&A session when we finish the training. So let's begin. Okay, first of all, a brief introduction to myself. There are quite a number of you on this webinar that I can see that haven't been on any of my webinars before. And first of all, thank you very much for attending. For those of you who know who I am already, I'm going to go through basically just a brief introduction to myself for those of you who are new on the webinar. So first of all, who am I? Who is Sahel Khan? If any of you guys know of a guy called Jay Abraham, one of my mentors, he had a partner called Mark Goldman, and Mark Goldman quoted me as a true rags to riches super success story, just like Andrew Carnegie. Another well-known marketer, Jeff Mills, gave me the name the Master Connector, and I will cover that in terms of why I was given that name. I've achieved over $16 million using joint ventures, and I'll take you through that step by step with some case studies to show you exactly how I've done that. I'm an international speaker, charging $5,000 a keynote speech. I do a lot of platforms speaking around the world and keynote speaking as well in different countries. I'm also the only Brit ever to be invited to speak about joint ventures in the US, which is quite unheard of. Most of the new marketing or marketing concepts come out from the US into the UK. So it's very unique that someone from the UK or from London, for example, is flying over to the US to train and coach not only individuals but businesses, and doing that very effectively, as I'll show you in this in today's training. I've also spoken in the Middle East as an emerging market, and it's a market that I'm definitely targeting moving forward. A great market to do business in if you know how to do business in the Middle East. I'm also the author of Guerrilla Marketing and Joint Ventures with J. Conrad Levison, and I'll cover more on that later on, how I got that book deal, and that's a book that's going to be published in the next couple of months. And I'm also the founder of mybrokerinbusiness.com, which is my main core business, where I coach and train certified joint venture brokers around the world. Okay, so here's what I'll be covering today. The benefits of using joint ventures, the joint venture mindset, finding and contacting JV partners, agreements and JV contracts, the 7 best types of joint ventures to use, how to use social media to connect. This is a big thing right now. If you're using social media, like for example LinkedIn, Facebook, I'm going to show you exactly how to use social media to connect and build relationships, to be able to do partnerships and collaborations and joint ventures. I'm also going to talk about influencing millionaires and billionaires. I'm very good at connecting and building relationships, and also I'm a very good influencer as well. So I'll show you exactly how to use those skills to connect with people on a high level. And we'll also discuss what I believe is the ultimate JV success solution that you can apply and move forward with straight after this webinar. So let's begin. First of all, for me, joint ventures, and I'll say it again and again, is the world's most powerful business strategy. So what is a joint venture? Now, a joint venture is basically an arrangement of mutual benefit between two or more people or businesses who have complementary resources. Now what that basically means is, let's say for example you have a luxury bathroom tile manufacturer and a luxury bath suite manufacturer. Now they both see each other as competition, but however they share the same resource, they share the same customer base. Now wouldn't it be awesome if these two companies came together and shared their customer base? That would definitely increase their sales, even double their sales, and make their sales go through the roof. But most of the times they don't do this because they see each other as competitors. And this is where a third person or a third entity like myself, who's a joint venture expert or a joint venture broker, will come into the equation and help put these businesses together and create deals basically, or new joint venture collaborations. Okay, let's look at the benefits of using joint ventures. Joint ventures allow you to compensate weak areas in your business, okay, without any nominal investment. The biggest thing I hear all the time right now is, I don't have the money to invest in my business, we don't have the cash flow, I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that, but I don't have the money. It's always an issue of money. We don't have money to grow, we don't have money to expand, we don't have money to make money. Well, you don't really need money to make money. You can use joint ventures and you can access other companies' resources basically for free, and I'll show you how to do that, and I'll show you exactly how I've done that with my clients and in my own business. Joint ventures allow you to take advantage of unlimited complementary skills and resources. Basically what that means is, once you've done one joint venture and it works, it's basically like a cookie cutter approach. You take that same concept and strategy and you just roll it out with other joint venture partners. Joint ventures also allow you to boost your lead generation and profits very quickly, and sometimes even for free. I'm going to talk you through a couple of case studies of how we use joint ventures to generate leads for free and targeted leads for free as well. But joint ventures also allow you great branding potential for free. It allows you to position yourself in the marketplace very, very quickly without any sort of nominal investment in marketing, advertising, promotions. Joint ventures will allow you to do that, and this is what I've used over the past sort of 2.5, 3 years to become probably in the top 3 joint venture experts in the world. It's very powerful, absolutely powerful. Also, the other thing about joint ventures, it allows you to make money out of thin air. It's something that people always say about joint ventures, but I'm going to prove it to you today and take you through exactly how I've done that and how my clients and students are doing that as well. Okay, let's first of all have a look at a business's most valuable asset. Now, here's what I want you guys to do. I want you guys to type in the chat box for me what you believe and what you think is the is a business's most valuable asset. If you can do that, type in and tell me what you think is a business's most valuable asset. Now, a couple of you said about there's a volume icon on the screen. I'm actually trying to see how I can get rid of that. If you give me a second. It seems to be stuck on my screen for some strange reason. But now, if you can write down for me what do you think is a business's most valuable asset, and I'll have a look at how I can get rid of this this icon on my screen. It doesn't seem to be going, does it? Very strange. Okay, let's have a look at some of the answers we have here. Customer and prospect list, client relationships, customer database, their people, a buyer and customer list, client base and relationships, a customer list. Okay, yeah. I think Stuart's actually seen my seen some of my presentation before, because he's got it spot on. A business's most valuable asset is basically the relationship between the business owner and customer, which is the most valuable asset that can be leveraged. Now, you've heard the term "the money is in the list," right? The money is in the relationship you have with the list. That's the biggest thing that you can build for any business, and I'll explain why. This the relationship is basically an asset which can be valued on a balance sheet. It's goodwill. Also, here's some stats for you. It costs 6 times as much to sell to a new buyer. Now, we all know that lead generation is obviously very expensive, and it costs money to generate leads up front, right? That's one of the biggest things that people talk about, which is obviously, lead generation. Now, it costs you 6 times as much to sell to a new buyer, right? Now, selling to the same customer again is pure profit. Pure profit when you acquire the customer, cover the cost, and sell to that customer again is pure profit. However, it costs you nothing if you actually use someone else's resource or another business's list to acquire that customer. It costs you absolutely zero, and you end up keeping most of the profit because there's no advertising costs. This is how powerful joint ventures truly are. Now, what I want to do next is I want to talk about sort of my story of how I got into joint ventures. I know some of you might have heard my story before, but there's quite a few of you on this webinar today who probably don't know where I've come from. And I just want to take you through my story, which I think is quite powerful, and it shows you how powerful joint ventures are. And also at the same time, I want you to write notes. Any ideas you have for putting together joint ventures or how to use joint ventures, I'll cover some case studies in terms of what we've already done. And here's my tip on making notes. When you're making notes, don't necessarily write what you see on the screen. Write down what you understand and write down what ideas you have. Always be writing down ideas consistently, because that's what you will use moving forward, whether it's in your own business moving forward. So it's very important you do that. So here's me in 2006. Let me just grab a glass of water. I built an 8-figure business using joint ventures. It was a very, very successful business with very high profit margins. And as you can see there, in 2006, I became very successful. I lived in a beautiful Georgian mansion, and I always had that red Ferrari on the drive that I always wanted. So life was great. It was really, really good. We built this successful business using just joint ventures. Then in 2008, I lost everything during the recession. Lost the business, lost the house, the cars, and was totally broke. However, in 2009, I set myself a challenge to make $1 million in 12 months, and I closed a $1 million deal in just 30 days using joint ventures. And I'm going to talk more about that in terms of how I did that and how you guys can replicate exactly what I did there. So let's just go back, and let me start off by saying that my background, I originally trained as an accountant, but while working at an accountancy firm, I didn't really enjoy the atmosphere. I didn't really enjoy working in the tax division. So I left the job under basically some ideas from my supervisor, because I was really good at computers and IT. I was really good at helping people. So I decided to leave that job and pursue a career in IT and information technology. Now, I did a master's in international business with IT, and at that time, my professor posted my thesis online, and my thesis was the impact of the internet on the manufacturing industry. And without me knowing, my professor posted it online, and I started to get a lot of phone calls from venture capital firms, .com companies, VCs, asking me about this thing called the internet, which just basically started back in sort of the early 2000s, and actually early 1990s. And I started getting a lot of phone calls from these companies, and one of my first clients was a company called QVC.com. And I started consulting straight out of finishing my master's and sitting on the board of some venture capital firms and .com companies, helping them basically use the internet in their business. I was typically an internet marketing consultant. And one of the things I did as a showcase, I created a one-page website selling computer training courses online via downloadable PDFs. It was an e-commerce site, and we set it up basically to show our clients that we knew how the internet worked and we knew how to make money on the internet, which is basically was e-commerce back in those days. Now, the website was very successful. In the first couple of days, we got ranked on Google. Google launched in '98, and we were getting orders every day from the website automatically. It was a truly online business, but we used it as a showcase. That year was phenomenal. We had 2 good years with working with some really big marketing companies until the doors for funding for marketing closed in 2000 when the dot-com bubble burst, and then we had Y2K as well. So it was a double whammy for anyone who is in the IT industry, and we ended up losing a lot of our clients. But one of the things we had was this online website, this computer training website, making money. So early 2000, we sat down and we decided to concentrate on growing this business. Okay, and I came across a book that you definitely want to write down. It's called How to Get Everything You Can Out of All You've Got by Jay Abraham. And that book opened my eyes up to the power of marketing, joint ventures, and strategic alliances. And in the book, Jay spoke about strategic alliances and joint ventures, and I really wanted to go out and try this. So here's a lesson for each of you on this webinar. You know, always take action, take massive action. Some things won't work, but most things will work. So you just got to be always active in the marketplace in terms of growing your business. It's very, very important that you're constantly moving forward and innovating as well. Very important if you want to stay ahead of the curve. So mid-2000, I went out and tried my first joint venture. I approached one of the biggest recruitment agencies, IT recruitment agencies in Europe. Basically, I sent them an email. In the email, I said, you know, if I could create an additional revenue or profit stream for you without increasing your overheads, would you be interested? And guess what they said? They said yes. I managed to get myself a meeting with them in their head office in Regent Street in London. And I went to see the company. There were 3 directors there. They sat down and they asked me specifically, how would I create an additional revenue profit stream for them without increasing their overheads? And I said, it's simple, it's a joint venture. I then proceeded to ask them how many people they had on their database, and they had over 150,000 IT professionals on their database. So I said, look, it's very simple. What are you currently doing right now in terms of marketing? And they said, well, we send out a newsletter that goes out every fortnight to our list. And I said, what do you promote in that newsletter? They said, we just promote, you know, the latest IT jobs. And I said, well, right now there's not many jobs for IT professionals. So I said, here's the thing. If you promote our computer training courses in your newsletter, because you're already sending it out, there's no extra cost for marketing and advertising. And then for everyone that you sell, we'll give you we'll give you a percentage. And it was phenomenal. It was the first joint venture we did, and we did all the tracking using an affiliate program, and we sent them a check every month for the amount of commission they made, and it was pretty phenomenal. You know, in our first year as a small computer training website, we made about sort of $90,000. In our second year, that shot up to just under $400,000. So it was quite powerful how you can use joint ventures to literally, I mean, this is not even doubling the business. It's more or less quadrupling the business within 12 months. So this is how powerful joint ventures are. What did it cost us? It cost us nothing. We had to give a percentage away, but up front, to get those sales, it cost us nothing. So that was the first joint venture I ever did, and it was quite phenomenal. And after that, basically, I was hooked. Then in fast forward to 2002, the whole landscape changed, and you might see this in your own business. The industry changes, and people are using new technology. For example, now we had PDF training courses, but our competitors were now doing video-based training. Okay, so we had to change. We had to go out and find, how do we compete with this new technology? So we did some research. We found out that this thing called e-learning, it would cost us $10,000 per hour of e-learning, okay, to create it. And our competitors had over 100 titles, so we could never compete with that. It would have cost us at least $1 million in an investment, and we didn't have that money. So what do? Well, the other thing you can do is something called licensing. And what we did was we went out to look for a company who had the video-based training that we could license and sell in the UK under our own brand, which is known as white labeling. We found a company in Clearwater, Florida, very successful multi-million-dollar training company, and I basically contacted them and asked them if we could actually acquire the licensing rights to their video training to sell in the UK under our own brand. I was quoted $100,000 for a license, but I didn't really want to pay that. So what I ended up doing was jumping on a plane, armed with $10,000, and I flew to this company in Clearwater, Florida. Now, while I was there, I was in the office and waiting for the owner, who was a female CEO, very successful, to come into the office from her meeting. Now, before she came into the office for our meeting, I was looking at her bookshelf, and I noticed she had some books from like Dan Kennedy, Joe Vitale. She also had this book from Jay Abraham. So I was like, okay, this is interesting. She's going to understand where I'm coming from when I talk about JVs. Now we sat down, we had a meeting, and I actually convinced her to let us have the license to the video training and white label the license to us for a minimum commitment order of $10,000 a month. So we signed the deal, and I flew back to the UK, now armed with over 150 titles that we could plug straight into the business. And now in that year, okay, our business went from 6 figures to 7 figures. And the cost to me was just $10,000. So it's pretty phenomenal what you can do with joint ventures and licensing to grow your business with a minimal amount of investment. So, people say we don't have the investment to be able to do this, do that. No, you could go out and acquire these resources, acquire what you need to be able to plug into your business and actually grow your business. So it was pretty phenomenal. We're now a 7-figure business. That was 2002. Fast forward now to 2006, where you see right now is I was reading something called the Sunday Times Fast Track 100, which is a newspaper we get here in the UK. I know they have them in the US as well. It tracks the fastest 100 growing companies in your industry, and ours obviously was IT. So in this magazine, I found a company that was worth $160 million. They had 500,000 customers. They had consumer customers, B2C. And I basically contacted them with the same proposal. See, you have to keep it simple. So I said to them, if I could create an additional revenue profit stream for you without increasing your overheads, would you be interested? They obviously said yes. So I got invited to meet this company, very successful company. Okay, 160 million IT group, 500,000 customers. They were a B2C customer, business to consumer. We were obviously a B2B customer. So I went over to them to meet them in a beautiful glass building that they had. Very successful company, and they had the boardroom right at the top in this sort of 360-degree glass room. And I sat in there waiting for the chairman and the CEO to come in. The chairman was the CEO's father. It was a family-run business. And I'm sitting there waiting to do my pitch. They both come in, sit down, and I start my pitch. Now, 10 minutes into my pitch, I get stopped. And the CEO says to me, Sahel, we're not really interested in doing a joint venture with your business. And I was like, okay, right, so why am I here? And then, I was actually getting ready to think to myself, you know what, okay, maybe this is not the right thing for them or us. And as I was getting ready to leave, the chairman turned around and said, Sahel, we're actually interested in buying your business. So it was quite a shock right there, because I had 2 more partners, and I couldn't make a decision there and then. So we went back, spoke to my business partners, and we ended up selling a majority stake to them. We sold a majority stake, part cash, part equity, to the 160 million IT group, and now basically we had shares in 160 million IT group. I sat on the board of 160 million IT group, and we all became multi-millionaires from that deal, and it was pretty phenomenal. That was 2006. But then in 2008, what happened basically was 2006, I stepped down as managing director in 2007, actually doubled the business. The reason I did that is because instead of working in the business, I was working now on the business. And 2008 was my exit strategy. I was going to cash out 2008, cash out my shares, and go and retire for a couple of years and just relax on some desert island somewhere, hoping that they would also have Wi-Fi. So 2008 came upon us, and guess what? That company that bought my business, that had been around for 25 years, went bust. So 160 million IT group went bust overnight, and I ended up losing everything. The business that I had was a division of the big group. We'd signed guarantees with the bank, and then the bank also came after us for a couple of $1 million worth of debt. So ended up negotiating with the bank and ended up basically losing everything, liquidating all my assets. And I really sympathize with a lot of people that I meet at events that I speak at that have gone through something similar. because I was basically in survival mode. I didn't know what to do. I had when you're living the multimillionaire lifestyle, and your finances get pulled from under you and your assets, you still have bills to pay. So it was quite an upsetting time for me. But luckily for me, I still had my old bedroom back at my mum's place, so I moved back home, and I had a roof over my head. And the funny thing is, and I always laugh about this on stage, my old bedroom was exactly like it was when I left. So my mum obviously knew I was coming back home one day, which is quite funny. So there I was at home and very depressed, um, not knowing what to do, in survival mode. So I decided to take a little bit of a break and decided to go on a spiritual journey to see whether I would do anything else in my life, whether I should do some voluntary work, or what else could I do in my life moving forward. But obviously, as they say, once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur. And, a couple of days into my spiritual retreat journey, I came straight back ready for my next challenge. So I still remember that day because I was sitting down in the lounge, and my mother asked me, "So what are you going to do now?" And I said, "Look, at the end of the day, I don't have anything, and I'm right at the bottom. And when I'm at the bottom, I can't go any lower. So there's only one way for me to and that's up." Okay. So I made the decision to get back on my feet. And one of the things I realized was, it was staring me in the face. I had done joint ventures before. I'd been very successful. I had no money. I created JVs and I created this 8-figure business. So for me, it was like, can I do something like that again? And in 2009, I set myself a challenge to do a couple of big joint ventures and, get myself back on my feet and make $1 million in 12 months. And actually, I did it. I ended up doing it in 30 days. Now, how many of you guys out there would like to hear exactly how I did this 7-figure deal in 30 days? Give me a yes in the chat box. Excellent. Okay, cool. All right. So this is what I did, and it's very, very simple, guys. When you're trained to do joint ventures, okay, your vision opens to like a 360-degree vision, and you can see lots of opportunities around you. Now, again, I was reading a Sunday paper we get here in the UK, Mail on Sunday, and I came across a one-page ad for a book called How to Use Your PC in 2 Hours. It was a book that was targeted at the baby boomer silver server market, and the silver server market. And it wasn't the book that was interesting. It was at the bottom of the page. It said they'd sold over 400,000 copies. So I thought to myself, you know what? They've sold 400,000 copies of this book. They have a database, okay, of 400,000 customers. Now, as you know, my background was in video training, okay? We created video training, video computer training. So I contacted this company and I said to them, I've got this book, and I said, do you have a video version of the book? They said no. And guess what I said? I said, well, I have a video version of the book. Would you be interested in upselling this to your existing customers? And basically they said yes. Can you send it to us and let us have a look at it and evaluate it, and if it's right for the audience, then definitely we'd be interested. Now, here's the thing, guys. I never had the product. I just pitched it. So one big secret about JVs is always try and basically lock down the distribution. Try and control the distribution, and then you can feed any products into a distribution network and make millions. Okay, so I never had the product, but I was trying to get a hold of their list. So I managed to convince them to meet me face to face. I went down to go and see them. Very successful again, multi-million-dollar direct mail company here in the UK. I went to go and see them and basically met up with their CEO. Sat down. The first thing he asked me was, Sahel, do you have a copy of this DVD? And I was like, oh, you know what, damn, I was so busy getting out this morning that I left it at home on the desk. And he looked at me thinking, is this guy for real? And he just said, look, if you can get this to us within the next 7 days, within the next 5 days, we'd really be interested. So I left the meeting thinking, wow, these guys really want to do a deal. Now, I didn't have the product, remember, okay? So now I have to go and find the product. I've got a yes from them that they would be interested in promoting it to their list, and now I need to find the product. So I spent sort of 2 days going out there trying to find this product in like Staples, Office World, and I never really had any luck there. So I went online to a website called, you might want to write this down, elance.com, elance.com. And elance.com is a really good website. You can actually put up projects on elance.com, and people will create these sort of training programs for you, or anything you want really. So I got someone to create a Camtasia-based DVD course based on the contents of the book, and I took it back to the company. They absolutely loved it. You know, I was standing there saying, well, you know, my team, you know, we've been up for a couple of days, you know, creating this and editing it, and it was all outsourced basically. So the CEO loved the actual course and said, you know what, I really love this, and he said this would be really great for our list. So I sat there and I said to him, okay, look, let's look at numbers. Out of the 400,000 customers you already have, how many of them do you think we can upsell to, you know, to the video version? He said, well, at least 50% of them will buy it over the next sort of 12 to 18 months. So that's 200,000, 200,000 people, okay? And then we start talking about my commission, and they normally work on a percentage basis, but I said, look, let's do a deal. How much do you want to sell this for? And he goes, well, we want to sell it for at least $25. I said, okay, look, give me $7.50 for each one you sell. You do all the duplication, you do all the copying, you do all the promotion and fulfillment, and I'll give you a license with the DVD. You can duplicate it, a duplication license. So the deal was done. We sat down there, and I was writing out my joint venture agreement. And in my agreement, I had access to over 400,000 customers, okay? And the CEO shocked me. He sat there and he said, this is really good. So hell, if this works really well, I'd like to roll this out to the rest of my customers. And I asked him, how many customers do you have? And he said, I've got 4.2 million customers. So 4.2 million customers is what they had in the database. And I went back and I changed my JV agreement to give me access to 4.2 million customers. And I'm actually now their JV manager, and I bring products to them to look at, to promote to their 4.2 million list. They're very strict on what products they promote, but I bring them products on a regular basis to look at. So, you know, if you have a product that could, you know, do very well, this is a list of baby boomers, basically 4.2 million. So and they have a catalog that goes out every quarter to a couple of million people. So the deal was done, and it took us overall about 18 months to finalize the deal and complete the deal. And here are the results. So here's the $1 million joint venture in 30 days. I found a list of 400,000 buyers and contacted the company with a JV proposal without the product. I ended up using elance.com to create a complimentary product for just $500. I introduced and licensed the product to the list owner, making $7.50 per unit sold without handling any fulfillment. Okay, remember that. And with a total of 200, we ended up doing a total of 201,462 units, and I collected just over $1.5 million as my JV commission. Now this took us about 18 months to complete this whole JV, because it was a very big joint venture that we did. Okay, so here's another example. People talk about, that's an offline joint venture. This is an online JV. You might have heard of product launches. I was involved in this product launch. Here's a guy called Chris Farrell. Most of you may know him. Very well-known internet marketer, now based in Beverly Hills, from the UK originally. I connected him with this guy, might feel same. We launched affiliate.com, and we did just over $4 million on that launch. So that's the launch that I was involved in behind the scenes as the joint venture broker. So doing joint ventures is very lucrative. Okay, if you have any knowledge of how to do JVs, whether it's in your own business or whether you want to go out there and create joint ventures for others, let me tell you, it's very lucrative. Now, I just got back from New York about a week ago, and I was paid $30,000 for 1 day's JV consulting for a client I picked up actually off LinkedIn, a finance brokerage based out in New York. and they even paid for my hotel. This is where I sat overlooking Central Park at the Mandarin Oriental in New York. So it's very, very lucrative, and positioning yourself to be an expert in any industry is also lucrative. But joint ventures right now, they're very, very lucrative, as a lot of companies are trying to find ways to grow without spending a lot of money on marketing and advertising. Okay, so it's very, very lucrative. So let's look at the joint venture mindset first of all before we start some training. If you don't have the right success mindset, then you are destined to fail. Visualization is the best means of manifesting the specific successful outcome. Now, I want to show of hands, how many of you guys actually use visualization, because it's very, very powerful? Okay, great. Oh, okay, good. So majority of you actually use visualization. That's awesome. Because here's the thing, there's also things called affirmations, which is a lot of what I use. And I want you guys, I know it's very hard because I'm not on stage speaking, but I want you to repeat after me if you can. I'm the right person in the right place at the right time, doing the right things with the right people. And another powerful affirmation is, I'm aware of and open to unlimited joint venture opportunities. I'm involved in the best high-level joint venture opportunities. So these affirmations are powerful, and obviously you need to also apply action to them as well to be very successful. So let's start some training. Let's look at, first of all, finding potential joint venture partners. Now, one of the best places to look to find potential joint venture partners is an existing mailing list, a customer list, or a newsletter. This is one of the best places to start because the customers have already done business with the list or the newsletter, and the list owner has a trusted relationship which could be leveraged. Here's a couple of sites you can use to find some really good lists. HighlightDMS.co.uk. Actually, this is run by a friend of mine, Mike Chantry. Mediafinder.com is another one for US, Canada, and there's also another site called NextList.com. That's a really good site you can use to find mailing lists or customer lists or newsletter lists. Here's an example of Highlight. They're a list broker in the UK, and this is how to find really good quality newsletter and mailing lists that you can use to do joint ventures with. So for example, here's a list that we found in the health and fitness area. They have over about 900,000 paying customers on their list. And if you were to buy this, it would cost you about $170 per customer, per 1,000 customers, okay? They also give you the list owner's website, and I'm going to show you in a few slides how to actually get access to these lists for free without paying for them. Okay, seminars and paid events are great because you get to network with a lot of serious and motivated people. In my experience, the higher the price of the seminar or the event, the more players you'll meet. Okay, and always remember, ask the right questions. 2 questions you should be asking when you go to any seminar or any event. First of all, how did you get started as a blank? This is a great icebreaker question. It opens up communication and dialogue between you and whoever you're talking to at an event. And plus, people like people who are interested in them. That's how you build a relationship. Also, another question you can ask them is, how can I help you sell more of your product or service? Okay? Instead of talking about yourself, try and help that person as much as you can. It's very, very, very important. Very important. Okay, so let's move on. Let's look at targeted online discussion board and forums. These are good places also to go and find potential joint venture partners. You can meet and network with a lot of prospective joint venture partners online in similar industries or niches that serve the same clients as you. This is so underused right now. It's unbelievable. I met a guy, actually one of my brokers is helping launch an online discussion monitoring software. It's like social media monitoring, but it monitors all the discussion boards that are on the internet to pick up what conversations people are talking about you or your product, and it allows you to join the conversation as well. A very powerful piece of software. So here's some of the URLs that you can look at. big-boards.com is a forum directory, and we've also got google.com/dirhp, probably the biggest discussion directory online, which is Google's directory. Social network sites are great. You can collaborate with other professionals directly and with key people of influence. And I'm going to take you through a couple of slides later on exactly how to do that and how to use some of these social media sites to make connections and do JVs. Let's look at how to use Google to find potential joint venture partners. Now, Google's an amazing resource for finding JV partners, and with a few tricks, you can narrow down your search results to find some great opportunities for JVs, okay? So the two best sites to use would be google.co.uk and google.com. Now, here's what you do. Step one, okay, using Google. You write a list of keywords that most closely match your targeted market. You take each keyword and do the following search to find suitable JV partners. So let's say you're looking for people in personal development and people who own newsletters. You type in personal development plus newsletter, or personal development plus with a plus sign forum, and personal development with a plus sign blog. Okay, that's how you narrow down the searches and get exactly what you want from Google. Because Google nowadays is full of so much stuff, it's unbelievable, and the searches aren't always accurate. Step two, now you have a list of results with the most relevant sites ranked. On the right hand side you've got the pay-per-click ads. These are the best ones to use, and then to contact, and use the following tool to actually find information how to contact them. And this is what you want to use is www.whois.domaintools.com. okay, this tool will tell you their Alexa ranking, how popular they are, and whether they're blacklisted and how long they've been around. So remember I showed you earlier that you don't need to go and buy or rent lists. Contact the owners of the websites using this tool, and then ask them, look, I've got a product, I think it'll do really well to your list. I already know how big your list is, I know what you sell, I think this product will be complementary, and I guarantee you most of them will end up doing a JV with you. Step three, now you've got plenty of potential JV partners ready to contact. You want to put them on a checklist, okay? A, B, or C. A is ideal partners with the largest lists or traffic. B is the second group of potential JV partners, and C, you let someone else contact them. Concentrate on pile A and pile B. It's very, very important. Here's another Google advanced strategy. If you make this your homepage, google.com/advanced_search, it's much more of a tighter search function that Google has. Okay, contacting potential joint venture partners. Now, as we know, you can use email online, and it's pretty much easy and cheap. A great way to contact and communicate potential joint venture partners. However, the problem is that we get a lot of emails nowadays, and there's so much spam, and you basically increase the risk of your joint venture proposal not even being read because of so much spam that goes into emails nowadays. So it is a good way, but it's not always the best way, and it shouldn't be your only mode of contact to contact JV partners. This is the best one that I've used, FedEx or special delivery. It's great because it also gets you past the gatekeeper, and most of the times it always gets opened. As long as you mark it urgent, please hand deliver. Now I'm going to give you a tip how to use FedEx. When I was out to get hold of CTOs and CEOs of companies, I would put in one of the top 10 business books in the mail and send it out to them with an inscription inside the book with my telephone number and my contact details. And about 75% of the time, I'll either get a direct call from the CEO thanking me for the book, or from the CEO's secretary asking me who I was and basically thanking me for the book. And then from there, I could follow up with a conversation and send my details and information out to them in terms of what I wanted to communicate. So it's a very easy way to get to very high-level executives. You can use the phone to contact potential joint venture partners, but only do this once you've sent your proposal out. You shouldn't actually use the phone to pitch. Also use the phone to get an appointment, but like I said, never pitch your proposal on the phone unless you know the person very well. Okay, here's my view on agreements and joint venture contracts, okay? First of all, NDAs. Some people like to use NDAs as it legally stops other people ripping off your trade secrets and IP or even your entire sales process. So if you're revealing your trade secrets, IP or sales process, then it's good to use an NDA. Otherwise, I wouldn't really bother with an NDA. But I would have an agreement in place if you're going to do any sort of joint ventures. And you only draft the agreement once the deal has been solidified and you've got a confirmation to go ahead. Okay, so always do use an agreement or a contract. Okay, so let's look at 7 quick ways to make money from JVs and how you can apply this straight away. So first of all, online. Here's a quick online JV for you. You find someone with a complimentary product or a newsletter, you contact them to promote your product or bundle it with their own. Okay, this is normally done by just emailing each other's lists or via a link on a website. So this is a very simple way for you to get started with joint ventures. This is the simple, when people hear the term joint venture, this is what they automatically think. Someone's got a product, someone's got a list, and they do a JV together. But it's more than that. You've got licensing. You can make money instantly, okay, by buying or owning the rights to something that's proven. But here's the thing, guys, make sure that it's proven and tested and sells, because that's the only way you'll be very successful. Because if it's proven to sell, then you don't need to spend time or energy sort of redoing it, revamping it. You already just license and acquire it, and you can actually use it. You can also charge people a royalty for the rights to your products and make money hands-free. This is very powerful stuff, and one of the quickest ways to make millions. Distribution, like I mentioned earlier, find a distributor that has an existing sales channel. Then find a good quality targeted product, and you just take a cut of every sale on both sides. This is a very simple deal. Another thing you can do, which one of my brokers has actually done, is negotiate exclusivity if the product owner doesn't have some kind of affiliate program in place. Basically take a product that's not being marketed very well and put it into a distribution channel, but get exclusivity of that product into the distribution channel, and you can make a lot of money. Like I've always said, control the distribution and you control the money. Product creation is great. You can approach people with great products that aren't electronic and offer to transcribe them or put the product online for them. That way you can also sell it as an electronic product to your to JV partners you find, and you just get a percentage of sales on that. So I've already done this once or twice before, and it's something that I'm actually planning on doing moving forward. You can create multiple 6 figures with this strategy. Okay, let's look at upselling. Upselling, see, a lot of people miss this trick. You can show other companies how they can upsell other products or services to increase the average unit of purchase. And you just go out and find the other products for a cut. Now, a lot of internet marketers do this very successfully. When you buy a product from an online site and you go to the thank you page, there's always an upsell there, and that upsell is a different product compared to what you've already bought. So there's no reason why you can't do this as a service for other companies. Every company needs an upsell strategy. Okay, reactivating inactive buyers. Now, there's something called customer attrition, and that's the amount of customers that businesses lose every year. This is all around 20%. Businesses are we're all busy looking for new customers, and sometimes we lose existing customers, we don't even know it. An example of this would be a gym and gym memberships. And how you do this is you get together with other businesses and offer them your products or services to reactivate dormant customers for a percentage of the profits. Very similar to a Groupon strategy. Because remember, it costs 6 times as much to get new customers. And finally, unconverted leads. This is phenomenal. Let's say, for example, a company A gets 5,000 leads a month. They convert 15% of their leads to sales, and that's pretty good. But what do they do with the other 4,250 unconverted leads that have actually cost them money? You can do an endorsed JV campaign to promote your products to their unconverted leads and split the profits. The great thing with this is a good JV to get started, because you're trying to build a relationship with a company who have not heard of you before. If you actually promote to their unconverted leads and you make money, then imagine what you can do to in the next step to actually promote to their existing buyers. We did this, and I'll show you how we did this. We used to sell online training. We always used to get leads for people who wanted classroom-based training, but we never did that. So we took out unconverted leads and we actually gave them to a classroom-based training company, and we actually swapped out leads that they had for online training, and we actually used those and made money from them. So it's pretty phenomenal what you can do with leads, how you can actually broker leads. Pretty powerful. Okay, so why use social media for joint ventures? Now, some of the social network sites are very powerful. We've got LinkedIn, Twitter, and obviously Facebook with over 1 billion users. Now, here's an example of how powerful joint ventures are using social media. Here is a webinar that one of our competitors did on the same topic, right, which was joint ventures. And this is how many invites they got. They got about sort of 3,000 invites. Okay, they managed to create 3,000 invites. Now, we did a very similar a webinar, and we managed to get over 10,000 invites. So this is probably one of the highest webinars with invites that I've ever seen myself, and anyone I know has ever seen. So we managed to do that via joint ventures. We got other people to actually promote it for us, and we got joint venture partners to promote this webinar for us, and we had over sort of just under 11,000 people invited, compared to the other webinar, which was very similar to ours, but they had much less than the people that we had. Okay, this is how to connect and grow rich with Facebook. This is a strategy that I use on Facebook, and I'm using it on LinkedIn as well. I use Facebook to connect with people who are key influencers in my industry. Now, what I do is I promote those people and recommend them. So, one of my mottos is give first, ask later. So you always got to give first, and that's one of the best ways to build relationships. And I keep giving, and then they reciprocate. Now, one of the things I do is that I give them, like, for example, one of my training manuals for free. And basically, when I've done that, I wait for them, and they come back and they say to me, for example, Sahel, thank you very much for that. That was really great. Now, what can I do for you? Now, when someone says that to you, you can now build a dialogue with them. And what I normally do is I take them over to Skype, have a call with them, build a relationship, and bang, they're really good contacts of mine now. So Facebook counts for 75% of my business, and now LinkedIn is also, and has already provided me with many 7-figure deals. It's actually powerful how many people, how powerful Facebook is, not only Facebook, but also LinkedIn. Here's an example. It's a guy called Nilasha. I try to get in touch with this guy for a while and build a relationship with him. And you can see there he says, thanks for your incredible generosity, Sahel. You're an inspiring man. And, we've become good friends over that. He's a key influencer. I wanted to get in touch with this influencer, and that's the strategy I used on Facebook. Now, I'm going to give you some tips on how to do some joint venture networking, and very powerful joint venture networking with millionaires, billionaires, and gurus. Now, here's a good friend of mine, Yannick Silva. I got invited to his underground event, I think about 2 years back now. And one of the things I learned at his event was how to really, really network with people. And I put a post out on Facebook saying to people that I'm going to be at Yannick's event. If you guys want to connect with me and you want me to help you make some connections, I'll do it for free because I'm here to help. So while at Yannick's event, actually before I even got into the auditorium, I was outside, and I was being rushed by people sort of approaching me with their products and their CDs and DVDs, saying, look, Sahel, can you help us make some connections and get some JV partners? So I said, yeah, sure I can. Let me have a look and see what you got. So on my right hand side I had this row of all these people showing me their products, and suddenly someone taps me on my left hand side on my shoulder, and he says, my name is Nathan Jones, and I'm the JV manager for Ryan Dice. Now Ryan Dice is a very popular internet marketer, and I'm like, oh, hi Nathan, how are you? And he goes, look, Sahel, I know you're very, very busy. I know a lot of people want to meet you. Is it possible for us to have lunch later on today, and we can sit down and have a chat? And is that okay? And I said, yeah, sure it is. So, and he goes, I'll meet you over at the restaurant for lunch, and he walks off. And I'm like, okay, what just happened there? Someone just offered to buy me lunch, and okay, that's fine. And then I get back to the queue on the right hand side, talking to them again, and someone taps me again on my left hand side, and it's a guy who's a affiliate manager for a friend of mine actually now, Kevin Wilkie from Nitro Marketing. He said, I'm affiliate manager for Nitro Marketing. I really like to talk to you. What are you doing later on? Have you organized dinner? If not, I'd like you to take you out to dinner. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. He goes, okay, I'll meet you at the restaurant over for dinner. Now, what I realized was how powerful this was. These guys knew how busy I was, but they got my attention in a couple of seconds. But not only that, they got to sit down with me for a whole hour. Obviously, they paid for my lunch and dinner, but I now felt I had to give something back. Okay, and it's known as the law of reciprocity, by a guy called Robert Cialdini, who's wrote this fantastic book. And you want to write this down? It's called The Psychology of Influence. And I learned a lot from that, and it was pretty phenomenal because while I was there, I got invited to an event in Tampa, and from that event in Tampa, a small event, I got invited to this mastermind, and I'm actually a member of this mastermind. It's actually a mastermind held in Tampa in one of the biggest houses in Tampa, 40,000 square foot Avila mansion. It's 25K mastermind. Here's the entrance of the mansion. Here's where we sit and normally have breakfast. And here's the full-size basketball court in the mansion. Now, I'm going to tell you a quick story about how powerful what I learned and how I apply these techniques is. Now, as part of the mastermind, you get 1 hour with a billionaire. The billionaire is the guy who owns this mansion. And he comes in for an hour, he sits down, he talks about his background, how he went from rags to riches, how he's friends with people like Bill Gates, how he went to school with some very well-known people, friends with Donald Trump. And at the end of his talk, he gets up and says, I hope you guys really, really enjoyed that, and I wish you every success. Now, I'm in this room surrounded by multimillionaires who are part of the mastermind, and they all get up from their table and walk up to him with their business cards in their hands, ready to talk to him. And guess what I do? I walk over to his left-hand side, tap him on the shoulder and say, Paul, I know you're very busy. I know a lot of people want to talk to you. Is it possible for us to have breakfast tomorrow morning? So he calls over his personal assistant. Personal assistant books us in, and I get to basically have this 1.5 hours on a one-to-one basis with a billionaire the next day. But that night I went back to the conference room, and guess what was still sitting on the table? Everyone's business cards. So this is a powerful way to connect with people who are very busy in the industry, and obviously offer them something or make that sort of connection. And I use the same strategy with this guy here, J. Conrad Levinson, one of my one of the guys that I really admire, now a very good friend of mine and a mentor. I met him on a cruise a couple of years ago. It was J. Conrad Levinson and Michael Gerber from the E-Myth were on the cruise, but I seemed to warm more towards Jay, and I know Jay was very busy. Jay was there with his family. Everyone was trying to get hold of him and speak to him, and I thought, you know what? Where am I going to get an opportunity? How am I going to talk to this guy? So I managed to see to walk by him when he was sitting on his own. I walked up to him and I said, Jay, I know you're very busy. I know you're here with your family. Is it possible for us to actually get together later and probably have dinner? He says yes, and then I obviously walk away from there. Now that evening I walked into the dinner area, and he's sitting there with his family, and we were told not to disturb him while he was sitting with his family. He calls me over and says, Sahel, come and join us for dinner. And I got to sit with Jay, share some of his stories, and obviously, we had a discussion about what I do. I told him about this book I was writing, sent him the manuscript. He loved it, and we now decided to co-author actually my first book, which is going to be called Guerrilla Marketing and Joint Ventures, which is due for launch in the next couple of months. So that's pretty phenomenal how you can use these sort of techniques to connect with people, and it was actually pretty phenomenal. So let's look at 5 steps to becoming a key person of influence, which is something that you really need to do if you want to go out and get JVs. That's fine, but if you want JV partners to come to you, you've got to become a key person of influence. Now, here's a good friend of mine, Daniel Priestley, who runs a fantastic KPI program in the UK and US, and this is what he says. This is the 5 steps you need to becoming a key person of influence. Number 1, dominate a micro niche or niche. Number 2, write or publish a book. Number 3, create an information product. Number 4, make sure people can find about you online. And number 5, do joint ventures and partnerships to grow. Now, I've done all 5, which is why I think over the last sort of 2-3 years, I've really accelerated in what I've done. And this is very powerful things that you guys can apply as well. And this is the 5 steps to becoming a key KPI from my good friend Daniel Priestley. Okay, so let's look at what we covered today. We covered the benefits of using joint ventures, the joint venture mindset, finding and contacting JV partners, agreements and JV contracts, the 7 best types of joint ventures, using social media to connect, influencing millionaires and billionaires, and now I'd like to just talk about the ultimate JV success solution, if that's okay with everyone. I just want to take you through what I believe is something that you guys can apply moving forward and actually become successful using joint ventures. Now, I'd like to talk to you about my my new joint venture success program. I normally promote my high-level 10, 20K brokering business programs, but here I'd like to sort of present something that I think will be adequate to all of you listening to this webinar, and I hope you guys will definitely come on board. So this is my joint venture success program. It's 6 weeks of JV coaching webinars live with myself. Week 1 we'll cover market research and product demand. Week 2 we'll cover JV product creation. Week 3 we'll cover JV tools and your JV system. Week 4 we'll cover finding targeted JV partners. Week 5 we'll cover managing JV partners, and week 6 we'll cover JV launches. Now here's what you get with my 6-week JV success program. You get 6 weekly live webinar classes with myself. You get a 7th week live bonus Q&A webinar. Lifetime access to a private group JV forum. All the MP3 and webinar recordings of the program. You'll also get my help to help you close your first JV and work with you on a JV deal. This is priceless. I mean, I normally charge between $20,000 and $40,000 up front for this service. How much for my 6-week JV success program? Now, the program kicks off on the 24th of June. That's a Monday. So every Monday we will have a live coaching webinar. We'll also have the opportunity to have Q&A and live discussions within the forum group that I've created for you. And on the 7th week, we'll have a bonus live Q&A group session. So think about it. I did a 12-week program not too long ago where students paid $5,000 each for 12 weeks of webinars. Okay, this was how to actually go out and do joint ventures and become a joint venture broker and consultant. So for 6 weeks, you would expect to pay around $2,500, right? But here's the thing, today only, if you want to come to this program and you're listening to this webinar, whether it's a recording of the webinar or live, you pay just $797 for this 6-week, well actually 7-week JV coaching program. Or you can split that up with 3 payments of just $297. Now, bear in mind, guys, that I don't normally do programs at this price level. My programs are normally 10 and 20K programs. The home study version of my 10K program is 5K. So this is something that I want to do for business owners and to help you guys to grow your business using joint ventures and actually work with you as well. Now, why so low? Why such a low price? The reason is that I will make 20% if our JV is successful. If I do a JV with you and help you create a joint venture and close a JV deal, I am going to take 20% of that JV deal. Okay, this is why I've marked this so low, because I'll make my money by working with you and creating a joint venture deal for you. So here we are. Here's a couple of fast action bonuses. You get a 1-hour fast start strategy session with me. That's one-on-one. And you'll get all my JV templates and agreements, which is worth about $10,000. Okay, this is what my people on my $10,000 and $20,000 program get. You also get access to my $1 million Rolodex, and you'll get to JV with the 4 million list. If you have a good product that I can JV with the 4 million list, I'll present that for you, and we'll see if they can take it on board. So this is for the first 12 people only. These are my fast action bonuses. If you're interested in this program, I want you to go now straight ahead to www.sahel-khan.com www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. That's www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. All the details of the program will be there, and you can sign up to the program. Like I said, for the first 12 people only. You'll also get these fast action bonuses if you act really quick. And that's basically it for the end of this training webinar. Now, if you've got any questions for me, I'd love to sort of answer any questions that you come up with, that you've actually, I hope you made some notes from the webinar. And now's a good time, guys, to ask me any questions that you have, so I can help you. So if you've got any questions for me, put them in the chat box, and I'll see how I can help you. Otherwise, go to that website, www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. Now I've got a question here coming in from Simon. Simon asks, Sahel, look, I do this thing all the time. I'm good at connecting and networking people, but I never get paid. Okay, so this is the question that I get asked all the time. Okay, people always ask me, hey, you know, I am really good at what I do. I make connections and I don't get paid. But here's the thing, guys. You've heard of the term, right? Out of sight, out of mind. This is one of the reasons why most people don't get paid for making those connections, because once you've connected two people together, you always need to be in their sight. And the way you do this is to touch them on a regular basis and keep in touch and ask them if they need any more help, how they're getting on, how's the deal going. And that is a way that you can actually stay in the deal on a regular basis. And hopefully, if they're good people, at the end of the deal, they'll say, you know what, we made $1 million, $2 million from this deal. We should give Simon a cut. Okay, so that's the way to actually get around that situation. Okay, another question here is, I have a startup business. Will joint ventures work for us? Yes, they will, because one of the quickest ways to grow your startup or grow a business is using joint ventures. If you have a good product or you have a good service that can be endorsed or can be used by another company or can be a benefit to another company's customers, then definitely yes, you can approach another company. And we cover this in my program. In my program, I will show you exactly how to go out and not only create new products via joint ventures, but also how to contact joint venture partners and how to close deals as well. So we'll be covering that in the joint venture. Another question here from Sandra. Sandra says, I've seen your webinars before. I'm really interested in becoming a joint venture broker. Will this program teach me how to become a JV broker? This program is not necessarily for JV brokers, but it does touch upon how to actually go out and do JVs. So yes, you could use this program if you wanted to create JVs, but if not, send me a message, email me on thejvbroker@gmail.com, and I'll give you more information about my joint venture brokering program. Let's have a look at any more questions. Do you also mentor people? Cedric, yes, I do. I don't really have an official coaching program, because if I did, it would be very expensive. This is a good way to get, this is probably the cheapest way to get on board to work with me in a group setting. Most people pay 10, 20K to get on the program. I do offer support on that program, very similar to a coaching program, but this would probably be, I mean, this would be the best program to work on if you want to work with me in a group setting. Okay, in your experience, this is Mark. In your experience, how much time does it take from start to finish to get paid and set up a JV? I'll give you an example, Mark. One of my brokers did a webinar, a JV webinar, and in that webinar, in 60 minutes, they made $50,000. So it really depends. I mean, you could do a webinar overnight and get paid instantly, or you could do, like I concentrate on, bigger joint ventures, which are mostly offline based. And for those, it takes longer, but the payback is really good. I mean, you get paid a lot of money. So yeah, you could use this to actually, do JVs in your own business, or you can actually use this moving forward to actually do JVs for other people. So that would be pretty cool. Right, do we have any more questions at all before I finish up the webinar? Any more questions, guys? You can ask me any questions. Remember, hey, I normally charge a couple of $1,000 for an hour's worth of consulting. So you'll get the most out of me today if you've got questions for me. So let's have a look at this. Nomiki says, oh, cool. Thank you for this entry-level opportunity to work with you. I've just signed up. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Oh, brilliant. Okay, excellent. Yeah, and like I say, guys, this is, yeah, you're right. I mean, this is an entry-level opportunity to actually work with me in a group setting. And, it's not always about, trying to charge high fees and high tickets. I do that because those are very intense programs. But, I really just want the opportunity to be able to work with you guys and really help you. And, like they say in the States, you've got to have skin in the game. So I don't do things for free, and I wouldn't expect you to do the same. I wouldn't expect you to give your time for free, and vice versa. But, I'm here to help. I'm hoping my training that we've covered today helps you. If you can't come to the program, please do use the training. And if you're watching the recording of this, like I say, go to the website below, www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. If we've still got places, they'll be there. If not, you'll probably see a sign that says closed. But go over there right now and have a look and see if there's any more places. And like I say, for those of you on the live webinar, you will get access to the recordings and they will be up. So guys, it's been a pleasure as always. I hope you really found a lot of use from my training. Please go and apply it. Please also go to my Facebook page, the facebook.com/thejvguy, and just give me your thoughts on what you thought about the webinar. If you go out and apply some of this, please also give me your thoughts and your feedback as well in terms of what sort of results you got. Okay, Patrick says, can you get paid quicker with info products as opposed to physical products? It depends. Yeah, I would say yes, Patrick. You can get paid quicker. You can get paid quicker with information products, but bear in mind, be very careful. I try and dissuade my brokers to really do online JVs. I'm talking about things like ClickBank, for example. I'm not a big fan of those products, but if you find someone who has a product that's offline that you can take online and then you can JV online, then yes, I would say you would be able to get paid quicker with that sort of JV. And webinars, of course, if you do JV webinars like I'm doing right now, you could get paid instantly. I mean, like, for example, I've got a couple of people who've already signed up to my 6-week program right now off the back of this webinar, and it took us about an hour to do that. So yes, that's pretty cool when you can do that. Cedric, yes, you can contact me directly, Cedric. My email details will be on that website. Or like I said, guys, go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/thejvguy. You can also find me on LinkedIn as well. So Mark says, I'm starting a new platform for JVs in Switzerland. Do you mind if I could interview? Oh, sure. I mean, I do interviews all the time. Interviews are very powerful. They're good for search engine optimization as well. So definitely, Mark, you want to, like I say, the jvbroker@gmail.com. Contact me directly there, or send me a message on Facebook. So guys, thank you very much. It's been a fantastic webinar. Again, the offer below, www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. And it's a great program, 7 weeks of coaching for a phenomenal low fee. And I'll also help you and work with you on JVs as well. And I think it'll be phenomenal for everyone involved. Okay, guys, thank you very much, and have a great evening, afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. And I shall see you guys again, hopefully on the next webinar. Oh, Nomiki just mentioned the webinars will be in the evening, UK time. I will, once everyone signs up, I will actually send you guys out details in terms of the timings for the webinars, but they'll pretty much be UK evening time. I think probably about 8 p.m. in the evening, GMT. So I will send you details on that anyway, and we'll make sure that we can get all of you involved. So thank you guys very much. Take care, and have a great day. We've got more questions coming in. It's okay, Nomiki, if the webinars the webinars will be recorded, and there will be in a membership site, and we'll have a live chat feed and live forum in there. So it'll be we'll have elements of it that'll be live. So like I say, I will contact you anyway to find out what time zone you're in, and we'll see how we can accommodate all of you. So thank you guys for signing up. Thank you for each one of you that have signed up today. We'll see where we are with the numbers, but like I say, after we've got the 12 people, then we'll take those bonuses down, and everyone else, we'll get you onto the program. Let's have a look. Mostly the bigger deals I do are other people's products, and like I said, I'll cover that in the coaching program, and I'll show you exactly how I do that. So guys, again, www.sahel-khan.com/webinar special. It's great. Thank you for your time. Thank you for you guys for hanging on. I can't believe all of you are still here. And guys, thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.